Good evening, everyone. This is the George here. And I know it's been a while since I've done a stream. I keep saying I'm going to do more streams, but I just haven't had the time to do streams. The last time I did a stream was on a more serious topic, the Quiet on Set Nickelodeon documentary, which was back in the end of March. So if you want to check that out, go right ahead. But we're going to do something more fun tonight, although I do want to do more serious topics in the future. Tonight is a spoiler discussion on Deadpool and Wolverine. I've already done a review on it without getting into spoilers, but this will be talking more so about the spoilers, the stuff that I liked, going into details on the few things I wasn't a big fan of. And at the end, if I got some extra time, because I don't want to go on for too long tonight, maybe I'll talk about the big news that broke this past weekend, or the previous weekend, sorry, of not just the Russo brothers returning to direct the next two Avenger movies, but also Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU playing Doctor Doom. Now, this video is going to delve into spoilers for Deadpool Wolverine. It's been out for over a week. But if you haven't seen the movie yet and don't want to be spoiled, I recommend you tune away. If you have seen the movie or don't care about spoilers, then feel free to stick around. So, with that out of the way, let's get into some Deadpool and Wolverine spoilers. So, if you saw my review on the movie, I love this movie. I had a great time with this movie. And to me, it's probably my third favorite post Endgame MCU movie, or post Infinity Saga MCU movie. I love Spider-Man No Way Home. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. And I also love Shang-Chi. That was the big surprise of this phase. Wait, I'm muted? Hold on. I shouldn't be muted. What's going on here? Maybe I move closer to the mic. Oh, okay, blinded. Yeah, I was gonna say like I'm not muted. Maybe I was too far from the mic. It's all good. But yeah, as far as the multiverse saga goes, there's only been a few projects I would say I have had a lot of fun with. Not to say I've disliked all the other projects, but outside of No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Shang-Chi, before this movie came out, it's been a tough saga so far. As far as the shows go, I did like the first four shows that had come out: WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah, I did enjoy that one. Um, Loki, and I did like Hawkeye. But after that, the shows were a bit tough to get through. I liked the first few episodes of Miss Marvel. Then I didn't care for it that much afterwards. She Hulk was a roller coaster to get through. Some episodes I enjoyed, some didn't quite care about. There are some shows that I just didn't even finish, like Secret Invasion, and I haven't even seen Echo yet. As far as the movies go, besides No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Shang-Chi, I did like Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, but I thought that had potential to be bigger. Same thing with Wakanda Forever. I thought there was more potential that it had. While I did enjoy Black Widow, do I really consider that part of the multiverse saga? It's more like a movie that was overdue to come out. Eternals, Quantumanium, messy. Thor: Love and Thunder, messy. The Marvels, did it have enjoyable moments? Yeah, but another messy movie. It just kind of felt like the saga's just been very messy and inconsistent for my taste. And so with Deadpool Wolverine, I was excited when this movie was announced. I love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I love the first two Deadpool movies. I also love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Logan's one of the best comic book movies of all time. Probably one of the best movies to come out in the last 10 years. But I was kind of cautious because how this universe has gone so far, and like was Deadpool and Wolverine gonna get ruined? Thing is, I don't even know if I would call it a decent Disney Channel show or like a Disney Channel show. It just, I don't know. Kamala Khan, I feel like the character, it's not the actress's fault. It's just the character sometimes comes across as too cringe, too fangirlish. And I know she's a fangirl in the comics, but the joke gets annoying after a while. It gets annoying. But back to Deadpool Wolverine. So I never thought this movie was gonna come out. I never thought Hugh Jackman was gonna come back as Wolverine. I didn't even know like how you're gonna bring Ryan Reynolds back as Deadpool. But they managed to find a way. And the opening of this movie, probably one of the best openings to any Marvel movie in a long time. Yeah, fangirl to the extreme. I agree with that, blinded. But yeah, the opening to Deadpool and Wolverine is one of those jokes where if you didn't pull it off, you really could have pissed off the wrong kind of people. In this case, you would have pissed off the fans of Logan. I'm a fan of Logan because, the film opens up with Deadpool going to Wolverine's grave, digging him up and finding the adamantium skeleton. And then the TVA comes. And then Deadpool uses Logan's adamantium skeleton as a weapon in probably the best opening title sequence for a comic book movie. One of the best. Of course, you're playing in sync. And the funny Easter egg is that if you remember in X-Men United, or X2, whatever you want to call it, when Logan's in the car with Rogue, Pyro, and Bobby, that song plays because Pyro wants to turn on the music, and you hear a little bit of it, and Logan does not like that song, so he turns it off. So Logan's skeleton being used as a weapon during the opening title sequence while that song's being played, genius. And right away, they basically established that this is going to be an R-rated movie to the extreme as far as the violence goes. And I love it. They definitely do a great job. And then we catch up on what Deadpool's been up to since Deadpool 2. Now, the one thing, like, this might have been a nitpick in my my original review, but I kind of commented how, like, it's not really addressed what happened with Cable or Domino. I mean, I can care less about TJ Miller's character, Weasel, just never care about that character. But, we know that Deadpool's using Cable's watch, and he goes to what is called the Sacred Timeline, the MCU timeline, and we see Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan back in 2018. Probably right before the Infinity War happens. And Deadpool wants to join the Avengers, and we're getting hints that his relationship with Vanessa is kind of strained at the moment. And we see that, Deadpool used Cable's watch to save Vanessa because we know in Deadpool 2, spoiler if you haven't seen that movie, she dies. But we also see during the credits of Deadpool 2 that he prevents her death and a bunch of other stuff, including the mute Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds signing on to Green Lantern. Funny stuff. So, Happy Hogan rejects Deadpool's application. And this is where I get into one of the few negatives I have with the movie. It just feels, and this is an issue that I've had with the Deadpool movies after the first one, is that they really don't know what to do with Vanessa and Deadpool and Vanessa's relationship. Because in Deadpool 2, we see at the beginning she gets killed. And in here, it turns out that 6 years later, they're broken up. She's moved on to another guy. Deadpool's down on his luck. He's a car salesman with his friend Peter, played by Rob Delaney. One of the few members of X-Force a couple members of X-Force that we see in this movie. But, Deadpool get a surprise party, and we see some of his friends making a small appearance. Now, this is really the only time we get to see most of the Deadpool characters in this movie from the previous films, like Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Dopender. We only really see them here. The only other two characters that you really get to see throughout the movie in other parts, later on in the movie, is Blind Al and Peter. But yeah, we see where Deadpool is, and he values his friends. He's come a long way, and he even says there in the movie that these people are his entire world. So that happens, and then the TVA come, and they're recruiting Deadpool into the sacred timeline. And it turns out that this universe is in danger because the anchor, Logan slash Wolverine, is dead. Now, this is where the X-Men timeline confusion does kick into the MCU because it's established that Deadpool 2 takes place in 2018, 6 years later, 2024. But Logan dies in the Fox timeline, the X-Men timeline, in 2029. So, did the changes that Deadpool made to the timeline with Cable's watch accelerate the events of Logan? But I mean, how can that be? Because in Logan, it's established that the X-Men die due to the seizures that Charles was having in Logan. But yet we see in Deadpool 3 that at least Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Yukio are still alive because they were at Wade's party. So did the events of Logan still happen where some of the X-Men survived? Or does the TVA know that Logan was going to die eventually and they're just accelerating the demise of the universe? I mean, to be fair, Logan did come out before Deadpool 2, the year before. I'm not trying to nitpick. It was just something that just came up to me after my review. It was like something that I saw on threads where but that's just been like an X-Men timeline issue that I can't even fault the MCU for because this was an issue that has happened before the MCU. Well, to be fair, yeah, no, yeah, because X-Men Origins Wolverine was where timeline issues were beginning to rise up. That was 2009. We only had gotten 2 MCU movies before that movie came out, Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk. So, yeah, before the MCU was really getting into it, that's been an issue. So Deadpool decides, you know what, he's got to find an anchor. That's why he was digging up Logan's grave because he was like, yeah, Logan's not gonna be dead. But then he finds the animating skeleton, and he's going through different universes, and we see Hugh Jackman playing multiple versions of Wolverine, including and a bunch of nods to the comics. Sorry, my words are jumbling up. We see a bunch of nods to comics that Wolverine was in, and we also get to see Henry Cavill as Wolverine in one clip, the Cavalrine, as it's called, which I find to be really neat because there were hints that, oh, maybe the fan casts of Wolverine would be in the movie. Henry Cavill was one of them, and we see Henry Cavill, and we see a joke at DC, Warner Brothers, because they did not treat Henry Cavill well during his time as Superman. So we get that. And yeah, there's no Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine in this movie. It's either Hugh Jackman or the Henry Cavill clip. Which, by the way, his fighting position is similar to that of his character from Mission Impossible Fallout. But Deadpool ends up in a universe where there is a Wolverine that does not viciously attack him. But it turns out that this is the worst Wolverine in the multiverse because he let down his universe. And it's revealed later on that while he was out drinking, doing whatever, the X-Men were being hunted down, and he went on a rampage, and it got to the point where he even killed innocent people. So this is the Wolverine that's at his lowest. So Logan and Deadpool get sent to the Void, where we've seen the images a year ago, right before the writer and actor strike, where they're filming out, and you see the 20th Century Fox logo. And we see some familiar villains from X-Men movies, like Sabretooth from the first X-Men movie, Aaron Stanford coming back as Pyro, which I will say I'm kind of shocked that he had a bigger role in this movie than anticipated. He was kind of like the third main villain of the movie. He kind of played as the guy that was reporting back to the TVA what Cassandra Nova was doing. And I will say I think Cassandra Nova's a looking back at it, is a better villain than what was portrayed. So yeah, Emma Corrin did a pretty solid job with that. But then we also see in this void Chris Evans, and at first we were thinking, oh, is he playing Captain America? And I think even Deadpool was thinking that, but no, he is playing Johnny Storm from the 2005 X Men Fantastic Four universe. And this is what I like about the movie. The movie had cameos that you weren't expecting. Like going into this movie, you thought there was going to be predictable cameos, like, oh, maybe a version of Charles Xavier played by either Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy. Nope, neither one of them were in the movie. You think, oh, there could be a version of Magneto in this movie, Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender. Neither one of them in the movie. There were rumors of other actors could possibly be in the movie. They weren't in the movie. But instead, we got Chris Evans coming back as Johnny Storm. And then we later get some surprise cameos in the movie. Now, we knew Daphne Keane was coming back as Laura / X-23 because the trailer that came out the week before the movie revealed her. And apparently she was sent to the void along with a few other characters. Now, we knew Jennifer Gardner as Elektra was rumored to come back. So this is where she comes in. She still looks great as Elektra. But then we see Wesley Snipes as Blade, which is very interesting for many reasons. Number one, we are struggling to get Blade off the ground. The Blade script has been struggling. It's gone through different writers, but yeah, it's still scheduled to come out in November next year. I don't think it's gonna, but we'll see. The other big cameo. Well, no, the other reason why, before I get to the other cameo, second reason why is that we know that there's been a rumored history that Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes did not get along when Ryan Reynolds was in Blade Trinity. But what's interesting is I didn't even realize this until a few years ago after No Way Home came out. There's a Guinness World Record for longest Marvel actor. And the record's been broken quite a few times the past few years. Tobey Maguire broke it with No Way Home. He returned. Then Patrick Stewart broke it when he appeared in Multiverse of Madness. And then Hugh Jackman had broken it for a short while until Wesley Snipes appeared as Blade. And he looked great as Blade. And honestly, you know what? Just skip the MCU Blade movie. Just give us Blade 4, where Blade's traveling in the multiverse, killing multiverse vampires. I think that would be more exciting than all this other stuff that is happening with Blade. But then we get Channing Tatum as Gambit, which, if you recall, he was supposed to have his own solo movie as Gambit, but got canceled because it took a while to come out, and then the Fox Disney deal happened. But yeah, he looked great in the costume, and he talked in that French Louisiana accent. Costume looks great, by the way. But that's basically our big team in this movie. I guess you can call it the redemption team, because outside of Daphne Keane as Laura, the other three need a redemption. I mean, Wesley Snipes' last Blade movie, Blade Trinity, was not a good movie. Jennifer Garner as Elektra, she was Elektra in Daredevil in her own movie, and those movies weren't that good. I mean, Daredevil has some good moments, but it's not a great movie. And then, Channing Tatum as Gambit never really got a shot, and the only time we really saw Gambit in a movie was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I didn't really care for that version of Gambit. But and then we get some really interesting nods to Logan in here. Like, Logan is really important in this movie. The first nod, obviously, is the TVA showing Logan's death, but also so Wolverine and Logan, they're in a car driving around in the void, and there's a scene where these two are arguing, and Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is excellent in this movie. The best performance of the movie. He gives a speech to Deadpool where he's saying like how insufferable he is, and also other horrible stuff about him, and Deadpool him fights. So Logan doesn't take the threat seriously, but then Deadpool punches him in the face, similar to how Laura punched Logan in the car. So Logan fights back. They have a bloody fight in the car. But there's a scene where Wolverine he's at a fire, and Laura tells him what her Wolverine did, and you really, this is where the stuff about Logan being undone in this movie is not true, because the end of Logan basically was Logan saving her and her getting the chance to have a normal life, to not be a weapon. And she says how better her life got afterwards. Now, obviously, it didn't pan out the way that she had hoped because, yeah, she got sent to the void. But essentially, before the shit went down, she was having a normal life. So at first, it's like Wolverine doesn't go with Deadpool, Elektra, Blade, Gambit, and Laura to the Ant-Man corpse fortress that Cassandra created. But then Logan comes out, and we have this really cool epic fight. And Wolverine and Logan eventually land up back in the universe, but they gotta fight an army of Deadpools, and we get a great action sequence. And I must say, Dogpool is adorable. Then you got Nicepool. Poor Nicepool had gotten sacrificed by Deadpool. But yeah, the action sequences. To me, this had the best action in the MCU since Captain America the Winter Soldier. That was top-notch action. Here, the action was fantastic. And then we have like the ultimate scene where Deadpool and Wolverine almost sacrificed themselves to save the universe, multiverse. And yeah, the Fox X-Men universe is actually saved. Wolverine stays in that universe. Laura goes to that universe to stay with them, and it looks like Wade and Vanessa are rekindling their relationship. And to me, this movie put a smile on my face because you got to see some familiar faces. I never thought I'd get to see Wesley Snipes, even for a short amount of time, as Blade on the big screen. The respect that was given to these characters. There's still a couple things I wasn't a big fan of. But besides that, I had a great time with this movie. It was enjoyable. It had emotional stakes. You know, Ryan Reynolds still has it. Hugh Jackman still has it. You know, Chris Evans was funny as the Human Torch. It was great to see Channing Tatum finally as Gambit for a short amount of time. Daphne Keane as Laura again. She was great. And to me, this is what this movie did is what I feel like the Flash movie had failed. Now, I know when Flash came out, I was more positive on the movie, but upon rewatching it, do I still think it's a terrible movie? I don't think it's the worst movie ever. There's been worse movies to come out, both comic book and non-comic book. But the film definitely had problems, and I feel like it forced itself to be a love letter to DC, while Deadpool Wolverine felt like a genuine love letter to the X-Men, Fox, Marvel stuff. Because during the credits, there's they're playing the Green Day song, "Good Riddance," I think the song was called, showing montages of behind-the-scenes moments. And as much as we love the MCU, as much as we enjoy the MCU, despite its faults, it wouldn't have been made possible without this other stuff that had come out. So, like, this was like, closing a chapter on an era of Marvel. But here's the thing. I do feel like the door is open for Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds to come back as Wolverine, Deadpool. Because on the same weekend that Deadpool Wolverine came out, The Marvel slate was announced, and King Dynasty is now going to be Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Secret War is still the sixth Avengers movie. And now we are delving into more so into the multiverse. But guess what? Doctor Doom has been announced, and Doctor Doom is played by none other than Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So basically, Kang is no longer the antagonist. Jonathan Majors in his action screwed that up. They're not recasting. Doctor Doom is going to be the main villain. And I find that to be very interesting. I'm glad we're finally getting Doctor Doom. But it's played by Robert Downey Jr., which we know Robert Downey Jr. is, well, he is Iron Man in the MCU, or was Iron Man in the MCU. And it's very interesting because I know we've had actors play multiple characters in franchises, but we're talking about someone who played the MCU's biggest hero. Now he's playing what's going to be the MCU's biggest villain. So that to me is very interesting. Now, what do I feel about the casting? Personally, I'm okay with the casting for a few reasons. Number one, the Russo brothers are also directing this movie. And the Russo brothers have directed the best Marvel stuff, and the best MCU stuff. They directed Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. 3 of those movies are in my top 5 MCU movies of all time. They've directed the best action, the most emotional stakes, and those are the movies that have a lot of characters, at least Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. But here's the one thing that I felt when the Russos were announced. This was right before Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. was announced. If they're coming back, Robert Downey Jr. is most likely going to come back. And then it was revealed. And Robert Downey Jr. said, same new mask, same task. He likes playing complicated characters. And the thing is, Robert Downey Jr. is coming off his great performance as Louis Strauss in Oppenheimer. If you haven't seen Oppenheimer, go check it out. He was phenomenal in that movie. He deserved his Academy Award. And now he's playing the villain. Now, people might be wondering, how's this going to get done? Well, I feel like there's a multitude of reasons you can do this. I trust the Russos to do right by it. To say that this is the end of the MCU, that this is going to doom the MCU in comic book movies, is hyperbole. If this doesn't land well, this isn't going to ruin the MCU movies that I love and like. Like that's the thing. Like this is the problem when decisions like this are made that can be hit or miss. Even if it's a miss, it's not going to ruin it for me. It's like with Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Does Star Wars: The Last Jedi ruin how much I enjoy the prequels, original trilogy, and even Force Awakens? No. It takes a little bit of enjoyment away from Force Awakens, but it doesn't harm how much I like Force Awakens. So I still like that movie, but it doesn't ruin Star Wars for me. If this doesn't work out, it's not going to ruin the MCU for me. Or at least the previous MCU movies that have come out that I like. And the thing is, we have yet to even see how the Fantastic Four and the MCU are going to work. Besides Doom, we only know that the Fantastic Four are going to be in these 2 movies. We don't know what the Avengers lineup is going to be. Heck, we don't even know what characters are going to be in there. We still have no idea when we're going to get Armor Wars, Thor 5, Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland, Doctor Strange 3, Shang-Chi 2. Now I'll pull up a schedule an MCU slate because this is kind of interesting. For 2026. So Avengers Doomsday is going to come out May 1st, 2026. It's going to follow the tradition of Avenger movies coming out in May. So here we go. No, we don't want that. So February 13th, 2026, there's a movie coming out. Now, it's possible that could be when the Marshall Ali Blade movie comes out, if it gets delayed again. I don't know. By the way, none of these rumored dates is going to be Spider-Man 4 because that's a Sony release date. So Sony would have to make the choice as to when the release date for Spider-Man 4 would come out. It's looking more likely, though, that it's going to come out after Doomsday, which I'm going to get into soon. So the other 2026 release date is a November 6th, 2026 release date. Now, Daniel RPK, who can sometimes be right, sometimes can be wrong, so he's a hit or miss, did say that any MCU movies that come out in between Doomsday and Secret Wars will take place in Battle World. Now, what does that mean? So Battle World is basically a patchwork world made from remnants of destroyed realities following the multiverse's collapse from incursions. And it was created by Dr. Doom. He had used the powers of the Beyonders. So, from what I remember. So, basically, whatever MCU movies come out now, I've got to look up the 2027 calendar. I think it got updated, so I don't think nothing comes out before in 2027 before Secret Wars. I'm gonna look that up. But basically, it would be taking place on Battle World. Now, would Sony go with that? Because there's rumor, because a likely scenario could be that Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man movie could come out July 2026. I don't know how that would happen because from what Kevin Feige and Tom Holland want to do based on rumors, Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man movie, they want it to be a more grounded movie after the big stakes of No Way Home. And we know we've heard the rumors that Daredevil could be the guest appearance in Spider-Man 4. Kingpin could be one of the antagonists. Maybe Scorpion will finally appear. Maybe Mr. Negative will appear. We don't know yet. This is just stuff that the people that you shouldn't believe, like My Time to Shine Hello and others have said. But assuming that's the case, that makes me wonder, will Spider-Man even be in Avengers Doomsday? I know the Russos have said in the past that Spider-Man is the face of the MCU. It's also been hinted that he is the anchor of the MCU, or at least Spider-Men are anchors in their universes. So, will that be the case? I mean, we obviously want to see an Avengers Doomsday Peter Parker, who's been forgotten, who lost so many loved ones, see his mentor return as a villain and get attacked by his mentor and be more heartbroken because people like to dogpile on Peter Parker. No, they don't, not really. So I got to find the 2027 slate. Okay. I think I found it. I'm going to change screens. I got a bunch of screens open, so I got to fix stuff. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Okay. Let me find the other one. I'm actually excited for the MCU for the first time. I know people aren't crazy about this, but screw it. I'm excited. Even if this doesn't turn out good, I'm excited. There's Robert Downey Jr. embracing the villain role. I can't wait to see what they do with this. So there was an untitled Marvel film for July 24, 2026. Maybe they took that off because maybe Sony wants to do their fourth Spider-Man movie. We don't really know. We haven't got an announcement. I don't want to get conspiratorial. By the way, Deadpool Wolverine, I'm so glad the movie's making a ton of money. Okay. So where is it? This is like a Disney article, actually. So Secret Wars comes out actually later in May of 2027, May 27, 2027. So we have an untitled Marvel film for July 23rd, 2027. So I guess Marvel's going to go for that later July release date now. And then November 5th, 2027. So there's nothing coming out in early 2027 before Secret Wars. So there's only, as far as we know, one Marvel movie coming out post Secret Wars. Not Secret Wars, Doomsday. That could be on Battleworld. Or maybe it's not. Who knows? Maybe it's like an Ant-Man and Wasp scenario or Captain Marvel scenario where it's a movie that comes out before Doomsday. Maybe it involves a character that doesn't appear in Doomsday. Maybe hey Sideways. Maybe it's it could be Shang-Chi 2 where maybe Shang-Chi's not in Doomsday and maybe this is Shang-Chi 2 and it gets and maybe this sets up Shang-Chi getting into Secret Wars. I don't know. Maybe this is Doctor Strange 3. Maybe Doctor Strange doesn't appear in Doomsday because he's taking care of the incursions with Clea after the events of Multiverse of Madness. And when he comes back, he finds out that the multiverse is a bigger mess due to Doom. Like, I don't know. These are just scenarios that I'm brainstorming. Yeah, that's a thing. So I think, well, I don't know if you heard Sideways. I basically said that because Sony has the release dates, because these are distributed by Sony, that Sony could have Spider-Man 4 come out July 2026 after Doomsday, which could mean there's a chance that Spider-Man might not be in Doomsday unless the events of Spider-Man 4 happen after Doomsday, where maybe he feels like he let the universe down again and he's down the dumps. Maybe the memory spell got undone because of what Doom has done. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I hope that we eventually get the X-Men in the MCU. That was one announcement that people were disappointed that there was nothing about MCU X-Men. But honestly, I don't know. The X-Men's not the MCU's version of the X-Men ain't gonna come probably until after Secret Wars. But yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do that. But if that's the case, if Spider-Man 4 takes place on Battleworld, then it looks like Sony won because Sony wanted Spider-Man 4 to be a big multiverse movie. But who knows? Maybe Spider-Man 4 is taking place where Spider-Man's not involved in the events of Doomsday, and Spider-Man 4 is happening, and then there's a mid-credit scene. It could be an Ant-Man and Wasp scenario with Spider-Man where he's on his own adventure because remember, he's been forgotten. He's no longer an Avenger. He's on his own. So it's very possible that the Avengers don't recruit him to face the new Doom. And maybe Spider-Man 4 has a mid-credit scene where Doctor Strange or Falcon or heck, maybe one of the Spider-Man, Toby or Andrew, recruit him to fight the new Doom and they tell him that Doom looks like Tony Stark, or maybe Doom is a variant of Tony Stark. That's the thing. There's a lot of scenarios that you can go with this. That now, how would I approach Doom in this movie? One thing I think you can do with Doom, which I was sharing with a couple coworkers and my supervisor because they're all Marvel fans. And yes, I would love to see Kingpin as the villain for Spider-Man 4. Like he's been hinted so many times. But anyways, what I would like to see with one thing I would suggest with Doctor Doom is maybe because Multiverse of Madness we didn't see Tony Stark, but we saw the not Doom bots, the Iron bots, the Iron Legion, Ultron bots. Maybe he becomes Doom as retaliation for what Scarlet Witch had done in Multiverse of Madness, the Illuminati. Like that could be a possibility. It could be possible that, because Doctor Doom is, Fantastic Four villain, maybe Tony Stark in the Fantastic Four universe, because the Fantastic Four are going to take place in a different universe. Like it's like a 1960s world universe. Which, by the way, I saw the teased footage that someone recorded from Comic-Con, and it looks exciting. I'm actually excited for it. It could be possible that maybe, Doctor Doom is in that universe. Victor Von Doom, he just looks like Tony Stark. Yeah, I'm familiar with. I haven't read the Ultimate Universe in a while, but I know that they were a thing. I mean, the MCU has taken some inspiration from the Ultimates. Yeah, I'm excited for Fantastic Four. I'm very excited for it. I'm even excited for Brave New World now after the trailer. Am I going to be that high on the movie just yet? No. I still am a bit skeptical because of the reshoots, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm more so looking forward to it than I was originally. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna take an educated guess and assume that Spider-Man 4 will take place after Doomsday. Sony will probably take a July slot, and I think that November release date will either be Shang-Chi 2 or Doctor Strange 3. I feel like Marvel, before Secret Wars, is going to want one of those to come out. Next year might be, I think next year could be a comeback year. It's got the potential to be a comeback year. But I need to see more from Thunderbolts. I need to see a teaser for Thunderbolts. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this Blade stuff. But here's the thing that I've also learned the last few years. Release dates change. Whether it's due to pandemics, strikes, or not meeting deadlines, release dates change. And I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel changes the plan again. Now, am I saying that Doomsday is going to get delayed? No. But I see a scenario. Well, okay, here's the thing. I want to change that. I can see Doomsday maybe getting delayed till later 2026 if they are really keen on certain movies happening before that. Like let's just say they want Shang-Chi 2 to happen before that, but they can also add release dates to Marvel. And I know Marvel said they want to only have 3 movies at max. But there's a good chance that maybe they can add something to the beginning of 2026, like Doctor Strange 3 or Shang-Chi 2, or maybe even Spider-Man 4 if Sony wants to do Spider-Man 4 in February 2026 or even March. They could take a February or March release date for a movie that they feel like needs to come out before Doomsday. whatever character they want to prioritize in preparation for Doomsday. It's also likely that Secret War can get delayed to maybe later 2027 if they want to have a couple more movies come out in Battle World or whatever. Like maybe they want to do Armor Wars before Doomsday or or Secret Wars, because that's War Machine heavy. That's War Machine is going to be the main focus of that. And obviously, if he sees some villain that looks like his friend, his best friend, he could be crucial to this thing. There could be some Avengers who have were close to Tony Stark, that fought with Tony Stark, that there's going to be an emotional crutch to, I feel like. But here's the other thing: Doctor Doom doesn't take his mask off that much. But you gotta remember, this is also the MCU, where a lot of heroes fight the bad guys without their masks. You know what I'm saying? So there's a good chance that they could be like, yeah, screw Doctor Doom keeping the mask on the whole time. That's a possibility. That's the thing. That's why I'm actually on board with this Robert Downey Jr. coming as Doctor Doom, because there are so many storytelling possibilities. And trust me, as someone that teaches a storytelling summer class, there are endless possibilities to telling stories. But we also got to remember something: great performances, because I know Robert Downey Jr. will give a great performance. A great performance won't mean anything if the story falls flat. Now, this is where I do trust the Russos, because the Russos have a great record. But we also got to remember that the multiverse can be messy with telling stories. It's worked with No Way Home and Deadpool Wolverine, but it's also backfired. Now, I know this is DC, but it backfired with The Flash. Multiverse of Madness wasn't a bad movie. I liked Multiverse of Madness, but it did get messy when the cameos happened. Now we won't be surprised if some appearances happen in these movies, not just with main MCU characters, but other variants. Toby and Andrew come back, assuming Sony's fine with that. Maybe Wesley Snipes' Blade returns. We could see Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds appear again, which I think that's likely to happen. Maybe other version of X-Men characters that we haven't seen in quite some time return. There are many possibilities. Heck, there's also the possibility that Robert Downey Jr. could be playing not just Doctor Doom, but he could also be playing Iron Man again. Maybe an Iron Man from another universe. Kevin Feige has hinted that it's possible to bring back the MCU characters that stories have ended. The whole Logan Deadpool Wolverine scenario proved that you can do that very well. Maybe a variant of Tony Stark played by Robert Downey Jr. again. That maybe he failed to save the Avengers. Maybe something happened with Ultron. Maybe he didn't sacrifice himself to save Thanos, but someone else did, and he feels guilty about it. You can also do that with Robert Downey Jr. returning or playing another version of Iron Man if you do that route. So there's also that. Now, the one thing I will say with the Russos coming back: will every character appear? Kevin Feige has hinted that not every MCU character is going to be in the Avenger movies, which is fine. Do we really need to have Moon Knight in these movies? Like, where is he going to fit? Where's She-Hulk going to fit in this? Like, there's going to be some characters that are going to get benched. It's bound to happen because you want to get some characters. I think Wasp is going to get benched because the actress who plays her has said she's stepping away from acting for a while. And if you're bringing Ant-Man characters back, obviously Paul Rudd's gonna come back as Ant-Man most likely. But you can also get, the girl that played Catherine Newton, I think her name is, that plays his daughter. So you know what? She can replace Wasp if you're gonna bring in Ant-Man characters into these movies. Is Daredevil gonna be included? I mean, Daredevil's a popular MCU character. I know he's street level, but assuming him and Spider-Man are like vigilantes teaming up and Spider-Man's involved in this, I could see Daredevil getting dragged into this, at least in one of these movies. See, that there are, in my opinion, storytelling possibilities, but it's got to be done right. And here's the thing: I still want to remain cautiously optimistic because just because the Russos made 4 great MCU movies doesn't mean they don't slip up eventually. It happens. It happened with David Yates and Harry Potter because David Yates directed the last 4 Harry Potter movies. Now, I love Order of the Phoenix. Half-Blood Prince was okay, but not my favorite adaptation of a Harry Potter movie. Deathly Hallows Part 1, good, but more of a setup. Deathly Hallows Part 2, fantastic. And then we get into the Fantastic Beasts movies. He did good with the first Fantastic Beasts movie. I thought that was good. Crimes of Grindelwald was a big drop-off, though. Secrets of Dumbledore, I thought was slight improvement, but not the best movie. So it's very possible that a director or directors could slip up. I don't know if all of them are Disney stars. I know Zendaya was, but in fairness to Marvel at that time, like obviously that they were bound. So a Disney star was bound to get cast. Um, but here's the other thing about Disney, and I'm delving back into territory that I went into a few months ago when talking about Quiet on Set. Disney, compared to Nickelodeon and other studios that work with kid actors, they set up those actors better for careers. Now, not every Disney star has a successful career post Disney, but it feels like their future careers are set up better. So yeah, if Disney stars do get cast in Marvel movies, it could be because they were set up to succeed better. No disrespect to other child stars, but that's the truth. But of course, Disney has its own problem with child stars. But back to Marvel. Back to Marvel. So I'm curious to see what kind of lineups they're going to do. Now, something that I know Blinded, I saw Blinded in the chat. He said this on some streams with me and Aaron World Order about that he thinks Captain America Brave New World. I'm pretty sure it was Blinded. He said that a new Avengers team would probably get introduced in Brave New World. Now, we've seen the trailers for Brave New World. We only really see Sam Wilson and Red Hulk. But obviously, the Red Hulk stuff is to set up Ross turning into Hulk. And Blinded, if you're still watching, correct me if I'm wrong. If it was you or Aaron that said a new Avengers team might get introduced into Brave New World, I don't think it was Degrassi that said it, but it was someone that was in on Aaron streams that said that. I think it was Blinded. But yeah, it could be possible that a new Avengers team could get introduced. And here's the thing: Marvel is known for keeping secrets as to what actors are going to be in their movies. They did a really good job of keeping most of the cameos in Deadpool Wolverine a secret. Like we knew Jennifer Garner was coming back as Elektra. They showed Daphne Keane as Laura in the last trailer, but I had no idea that Chris Evans was returning as Human Torch. I had no idea Wesley Snipes was coming in as Blade. I had no idea that Channing Tatum was gonna finally play Gambit. So I didn't even know Jon Favreau was gonna be in the beginning as Happy Hogan. So I think after the No Way Home debacle, where leakers were just and scoopers were just leaking stuff out, the security at Marvel I feel like has gotten tighter. Although to be fair, that's more on Sony. I don't really know the actress that plays Cindy Moon. And if she was on a Disney show, it was probably way after my time. Like, let's see, Homecoming came out, 2017? I think I grew out of Disney Channel like 2012, 2013, around that time. And if I was watching Disney Channel, it's probably to watch something like Phineas and Ferb or Gravity Falls. But yeah, the tween sitcom stuff I grew out of, so I honestly don't know what she was on Disney Channel. If you know the show, you can share it with me in the chat. Um, I, now, I don't know if this is true. Someone said apparently the Thunderbolts will appear in this movie. Well, Doomsday and Secret Wars. As far as we know about Thunderbolts, like we know Sebastian Stan's returning as Bucky, Florence Pugh is returning as Yelena. They're going to be the main stars. But what other characters could possibly be in Doomsdays? Are we going to have the Young Avengers? Like here's the thing. What's going on with this Young Avengers stuff? Like, it started getting set up in the Marvels. Is Captain Marvel even going to be in this movie? I feel like the heavy hitters that need to be in this movie, besides Sam Wilson's new Avengers team, assuming he puts together a new Avengers team in Brave New World, the Fantastic Four, and maybe Thunderbolts. Like, I feel like Thor, any of the other remaining main Avengers. Oh, Kevin Feige did say that. I knew he said Fantastic Four. I didn't know about Thunderbolts. Thank you, Sideways. So besides Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, we're gonna need Sam Wilson probably, Thor, Hulk, original Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner sounds like he's open to coming back. If you get him, probably get Kate Bishop in there. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, Deadpool, Wolverine. Like, I can see them coming in any of these movies, both these movies. Well, here's the other question. Is Blade, Mahershala Ali's Blade, actually going to happen? Because this movie's becoming the Flash of the MCU. And what I mean by that is that it's going through several rewrites. And we're getting impatient. And I think Mahershala Ali is, because I want to remind everyone, Mahershala Ali was announced as Blade back in 2019. 2019. Now let's recall 2019 Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con 2019, 5 years ago. What was announced then was Black Widow, Eternals. They were supposed to come out in 2020. COVID, unfortunately, postponed them to 2021. But we're going before COVID happened. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness for 2021. Thor: Love and Thunder for 2021. Shang-Chi for 2021. And then Black Panther 2. This was before Chadwick Boseman also passed away, for 2022. That was like Marvel's slate, along with some of the first shows like Loki, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Hawkeye. Mahershala Ali was cast as Blade. He had approached Kevin Feige about wanting to play Blade. Since then, we have also gotten confirmed and have come out Spider-Man, No Way Home, the third Tom Holland Spider-Man movie for 2021. We had also gotten Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumanium for 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for 2023. The Marvels, Captain Marvel 2, basically, for 2023. The third Deadpool movie, which was Deadpool Wolverine, for 2024. And we're going to get, what's supposed to come out this year, but it's coming out next year, Captain America Brave New World, and Fantastic Four, and Thunderbolts. These are all movies those movies I just listed, confirmed after San Diego Comic-Con 2019. Were filmed. Some have come out. Some are about to come out. And yet, Blade has been on and off. Yeah, we should have a new Avengers movie before Doomsday and Secret Wars. I am worried that they could be rushing these movies. That's why I wouldn't be against them getting delayed. Kind of like how I wasn't against when King it was just King Dynasty and Secret Wars them getting delayed. I feel like Young Avengers is going to become a TV show. There's an inkling feeling that's going to be a TV show. That's just my opinion. Also, I feel like by the time that comes out, the Young Avengers are going to be too old to be Young Avengers. I mean, I know in Hollywood, people actors in their late 20s are, still playing teenagers, but let's see. Secret Wars comes out 2027. By then, Catherine Newton and Haley Steinfeld are going to be, 30, 31, well, 30. Um, the actress that plays Miss Marvel, sorry, I forgot her name. She'll probably be in her mid 20s. I mean, but that's another thing. Is she still gonna want to play like a teenage Kamala Khan by then? Sometimes actors just get sick and tired of playing teenagers. Once they approach their mid 20s, they want to play more grown up roles. So I honestly don't know if Young Avengers should even happen at this point. I honestly don't know. I mean, if it does happen, I'll check it out, but I'm not going to be that excited. If it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of Marvel stuff that I'm still excited for. So there's that. But yeah, I don't even know like what's going on. Well, that's another thing. What's going to happen with the Eternals? Are Eternals even going to be a factor in these next two movies? I feel like Eternals 2, I think, was at one point a priority, but now it doesn't even feel like a priority. I feel like Eternals is going to be like the forgotten child of the MCU. The movie's going to be forgotten. And it's kind of sad because I think visually and cinematically it looks really good. But the plot just. Some things just dragged on too long. That was way too long of a movie. To me, I think it would have made more sense to do an Eternals TV show. That's just my opinion. To me, that was probably one of the more disappointing MCU movies because it looked so good cinematically. And I was really excited for it. Then it came out, and I don't think it was terrible, but I keep forgetting that it was a movie in the MCU. So there's that. But I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I also don't know like what these two movies that are coming out after Secret Wars are going to be, which is why I think there's a good possibility that Secret Wars could get delayed to November 2027. I'm not saying anything. That's not what someone said. I'm not saying what someone said. That's just my theory that it could get delayed to that because maybe they might push a couple movies out before Secret Wars. I don't know. But this is the most excited I've been for the MCU in a long time. I'm going to be honest. It's like even when a movie comes out that I love is released or show, it's hard for me to be excited. Even after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 came out, sorry for yawning, I still wasn't fully excited because, if anything, I was more excited for what James Gunn's going to do with the DCU because James Gunn directed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and he did a fantastic job. Yeah, I agree with that sideways. And even like even right because I saw Deadpool Wolverine the same day that the big announcements at Comic Con were announced. Even when I saw Deadpool Wolverine, I was like, as fun as that was, as awesome as that was, I'm still not fully sold that the MCU is back just yet. Only because if Deadpool Wolverine, for the most part, felt like a Fox Marvel movie, and I mean one of the better Fox Marvel movies, because you got the Fox Marvel movies that aren't that good, and then you got the great ones like Logan, Deadpool, X-Men Days of Future Past. It was up on that level. And also X-Men United. To me, X-Men United is a great movie. One of the most underrated Marvel comic book movies of all time. Love it, and I'll defend it to this day. But then when this news came out, I felt like I was back in college because when I was in college, that was when the height of the MCU. That was like that time period of 2015 to 2019. So basically, I began college right after Ant-Man came out. So right before Civil War. And that was like the era of hype. And it felt like each year something exciting was coming out while I was in college. You had Captain America Civil War, 2016, 2017. You had some great stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok. 2018, you had Black Panther, then Infinity War. And then 2019, few weeks before I graduate college, Endgame comes out. And also, during my college years, the first two Deadpool movies came out. And I love those movies. The first Deadpool movie came out at the beginning of my second semester of my freshman year. Deadpool 2 came out at the end of my junior semester. Actually, I saw it like the first weekend after my junior semester had ended. So last weekend really felt like I was back in college, in the sense that new Deadpool movie came out. That was awesome. Also, Wolverine was in it. Logan also came out while I was in college. So there's that. And exciting Marvel news happened. And I'm excited for the MCU. It's just give me good movies. That's all I'm asking for. I feel like I've gotten more picky with my movies as I've gotten older. Like when I was younger, I felt like I was more lenient with how movies came out. But I feel like as I've gotten older, not just, reviewing movies on YouTube or for the Movie Nerds, my friend's website, just, watching more movies that aren't just superhero movies. Because the issue that I kind of have with people that focus on big franchises, not just, Marvel fans, but, Star Wars fans and, DC fans and other fans, is that there's a big world of film out there. There are so many great movies out there that aren't even blockbuster or franchise movies. And if there's one thing I will take away from COVID shutdown 2020, as much as I hated that we had that big virus, people were getting sick, people were dying. It was a depressing time because I was out of work for several months. Couldn't see my coworkers, couldn't see my family members. Really couldn't go anywhere. Couldn't go to the movie theater. Couldn't go to certain places. Just hearing all this horrible stuff that was happening in the world at the time. Because it was also an election year. Not going to say anything about that, but it was a tense election year. Very sad, depressing time. But one of the things that helped me get through that time was watching movies. Believe it or not, just escaping into another world. And whether it was a movie that I've seen many times, like Jurassic Park or Star Wars movies, but also new stuff. During that period, I got to watch a lot of movies for the first time. I got to watch Kevin Smith's View Askew Universe for the first time. The first week of shutdown, I watched Clerks for the first time. I've mentioned so many times on this channel, on other streams, to my personal friends, how much I love Clerks. It's one of my all-time favorite movies now. I probably rewatched that movie so many times since I watched it for the first time in 2020. In fact, it's like one of the few movies that I rewatch more than once a year. That's how much I love Clerks. And then I watched Mallrats, Chasing Amy. I found Dogma on YouTube and watched Dogma, the hardest Kevin Smith movie to find. Then Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And then Clerks 2. Like, I got to watch so much great stuff. I also finally got to see Goodfellas for the first time. those first couple weeks. Raging Bull, some Martin Scorsese stuff that I didn't get to watch. Yeah, I watched them, and Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies. Now, I've watched that movie a few times since then. Raging Bull, same thing. Watched him many times since then. Had a great time with that movie. I've watched Kill Bill for the first time, volumes 1 and 2. I got to rewatch movies I haven't seen in years, like The Mask. I haven't seen The Mask in a long time. I got to finally watch The Mask. Dead Poets Society, fantastic movie with Robin Williams, emotional movie. So much stuff that I got to watch. I got to watch like a lot of older movies that I never thought I'd get a chance to see. The Thin Man. You ever see the old comedy from the 1930s, The Thin Man, or the Beatles movie A Hard Day's Night? I see a lot of classic older movies for the first time. You know what's something that helped me up? This comedy movie starring I think it's David Kay. I gotta look up the name. The Court Jester is a funny movie, and I hate to say it, the person that got me to watch that movie, it's a YouTuber that wears a mask that's controversial, and he says some really weird stuff. Overlord DVD, Doomcock. Danny Kaye, not David Kaye. David Kaye, I think, is a voice actor that played Megatron. Danny Kaye. Yeah, Danny Kaye in The Court Jester. That's become one of my favorite movies to watch. I highly recommend it. It's a movie from the 1950s. Danny Kaye, who, if you've seen White Christmas, you've seen him in White Christmas, plays someone that plays a carnival performer who's trying to protect the infant royal heir from an evil king. And he gets access by impersonating the king's jester, and he gets into a bunch of shenanigans. Very entertaining movie, very funny movie. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's on Pluto TV. I just looked at it. It's on Pluto TV. I'm recommending a movie to you guys. Watch The Court Jester in the 1950s. It's a very entertaining movie. And, you know, the reason why I discovered this movie from Doomcock was because during COVID, he made a list of his top 10 movies, feel-good movies. And he said, like, Die Hard, E.T., The Blues Brothers, Little Mermaid, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, he actually put some Disney movies in there, even though he calls Disney woke and all this other stuff. And Court Jester was like the one movie that was on that list. I was like, I've never heard of this movie before, but it kind of intrigued me. So I saw it and I loved it. So much as Doomcock is full of it and lies and spews some bullshit, I'm not afraid to say that, he did recommend a good movie. So I don't think Doomcock's ever going to discover my small channel. But if he does, thank you, Overlord DVD. That doesn't excuse all the lies and stuff that you have promoted from Camera Passion, though. I'm trying to think of anything else. But the point is, back to the point, is that the reason why I feel like I've become more critical of the MCU and just comic book movies and franchise movies as a whole is because I've seen so many other movies these last few years, whether they're from different franchises that are smaller in scale, like the View Universe, or, you know, just independent movies that are actually really good. I feel like my taste has just expanded. And there's so much more to film. And, you know, on this channel, I do try my best to talk about other stuff, old and new stuff, not just comic book movies. But the point is, there's a big sea, a big world universe, plenty of movies to watch, old and new. And I'm always excited. Oh yeah, the Francis Ford Coppola directed Dracula movie. That was another one that I discovered. That's another really good one. Although to be fair, I watched that when I finally went back to work because I did go back to work that fall of 2020. But yeah, I did watch that during what was the darkest period of the modern day. But I don't know if there's anything else to cover. I think I've said what I needed to say in regards to Deadpool Wolverine spoilers and MCU news has come out. But overall, I am excited again. And does this mean it's going to work out? No. There's a chance that this could backfire. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping that we get some great stuff. I'm hoping that these movies turn out well. And not just the Avenger movies. Obviously, we want the big, crowded MCU movies, the big stake movies to be the best. But I also like it when Marvel can pull out a couple of surprise movies. Like Shang-Chi, Guardians of the Galaxy. So I would love for Captain America Brave New World to be really good. The trailer looks promising. Same thing with Fantastic Four. I hope Fantastic Four is really good. But also to make you care about the other characters, because what made the Infinity Saga very good is the fact that even if a movie wasn't the greatest, if a solo movie was still good, like Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, at least you could care about those characters. There's some that take it the next step, like Black Panther did, and it made you care about the character. I want to be able to care about these characters because something big's going to happen in these movies. I'm not saying half of humanity is going to get wiped out or whatever. I also don't know who I would cast as Kitty Pryde. I mean, if she wasn't already playing Kate Bishop, I think Haley Steinfeld would have been a good choice. Personally, trying to think. I also don't know. I'm trying to think. Like I said, if Haley Steinfeld wasn't playing Kate Bishop already, I think she'd be a good choice. I'm trying to think. I have to get back to you on that one, but she's one option if she wasn't already playing an MCU character. But back to what I was saying. Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that Marvel needs to gain consistency back. Because with consistency, people can be excited again. It's not enough for, just Spider-Man No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Shang-Chi, and Deadpool Wolverine. And maybe for some people, because there's some people that I know there's people that like but don't love Multiverse of Madness and Wakanda Forever, but there's also some that are like, no, I love Multiverse of Madness. I love Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Maybe those movies. But outside of like those two movies, joining in with the other big ones that have come out post Endgame, people aren't clamoring to Thor: Love and Thunder or Quantumania. To me, Quantumania was like the real first sign of concern for me in the MCU. Because, despite how bland Eternals was, I did enjoy the first movies that have come out. Thor: Love and Thunder, I was like, you know what? Just one misfire, whatever. I'm not going to let it ruin it. But Quantumania should have been the one. This is before Jonathan Majors got into trouble and all that. When we thought Kang was going to be the main bad guy. Really? That should have been a better movie than what was given. I don't know what happened with that movie. But to me, that was the first time I was really disappointed with an MCU movie. If I'm going to be completely honest. And look, if you like Quantumanium, there's no shame. There's no shame. There are some things in that movie that are fine. So if you like that movie, that's okay. But for me, that was just the first time I was disappointed in an MCU movie. There's been MCU movies that weren't good that I wasn't disappointed in. Because I was like, you know what? The stakes aren't really going to be that high for this movie. When the first Captain Marvel movie came out, I was like, you know what? Yeah, it wasn't that good, but I'm not disappointed. I'm looking forward to Endgame for other reasons. So, whatever. Now it's gotten to a point where Marvel really needs to step it up. And I hope this is the case. I hope Deadpool Wolverine is like the beginning of what can be a good streak. Hopefully, we will continue that. And I think I'm gonna have to end the stream soon because I'm yawning a lot. I've been tired lately. Just so you guys to understand why I haven't been really streaming a lot. I just been busy with work, and other stuff, and I want to stream more. I would love to stream more. Um, I should be having some time off soon, a couple weeks, so maybe I'll do more streams. I need to get consistency back. That's the problem. I need to gain some consistency again. Like the last stream, as I mentioned before, I was talking about Quiet on Set, which is a much more serious topic, a much more heated topic because of the subject matter and what child actors went through back then. Um, but back to the topic of Marvel. I am excited again, but I am going to be cautious. Now, before I end the stream, I will rank my favorite to least favorite post Infinity Saga MCU movies. So, let's start this off with I'm not familiar. I got Rowan. I'll look her up before I do the rankings. I don't want to keep this going for too long, but she does look the part. I will say that. Oh yeah, she was on Girl Meets World. Now I recognize her. Yeah, she was on Girl Meets World. Rowan Blanchard. All right. Yeah, you know what? She does look like she can play Kitty Pryde. That's a good casting choice, Mr. Anti-Idiotic. I don't think I've seen you before, by the way, in my chat. I'm glad you tuned in. I don't know if you watched my other stuff before, but thank you for tuning in. But yeah, time to rank before I end the stream the post Infinity Saga MCU movies. And I didn't get a tier chart ready for this, so I don't have a tier chart. Maybe I'll do tier charts in the future. But instead, I'm going to go on Letterbox. And we are going to make a post Infinity Saga ranking list. Yes, I am on Letterbox. So, you know what? I'll post a link to my profile. You can see the scores I've given some movies. I'll post that in the chat. Oh, hey. What's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. So, yeah, I'll post the link to my my Letterbox before we do this rankings of MCU Phase 4 and 5 movies. I gotta share my screen. So yeah, if you wanna check me out on Letterboxd, go right ahead. I might post a few links in here later on as well to my stuff. So yeah, we're gonna be starting a new list here on my Letterboxd. I'm glad you enjoyed Deadpool Wolverine. It was great fun. Definitely one of my favorite comic book movies in recent years. And by the way, I still stand by saying the first Deadpool is my favorite of the Deadpool movies, but then Deadpool Wolverine, and then Deadpool 2. In my opinion, I think all three are great. I don't care what anyone says. I think Deadpool 2 is underrated. So let's start this off. So the first movie that had to come out was Black Widow, and this was this was an okay movie. I think it could have been better had it just come out in between Civil War and Infinity War, like it takes place in. Um, but I like the introduction of Florence Pugh as Yelena. Her and Sebastian Stan. I'm looking forward to seeing Thunderbolts. So next we can do Shang-Chi. And to me, I definitely would rank this higher than Black Widow. To me, Shang-Chi was a great movie, one of the best solo movies in the MCU, one of the best surprises in the MCU. Great action. To me, the action in here, this is actually up there with Winter Soldier and Deadpool Wolverine as far as action goes, in my opinion. Had a great villain. I love that, we kind of go back a little bit to Iron Man 3. I think Iron Man 3 is underrated. Yeah, Simu Liu, he's great as Shang-Chi. And it's really disappointing that we don't have a release date for Shang-Chi 2. I really hope that that's the other 2026 release date, whether it's before or after Doomsday. Because I am convinced that there's going to be a movie coming out in February 2026 before Doomsday. That's just what I think. I think they're going to add something. So now let's put in Eternals. And I think I've talked enough about this movie on here. It's just, well, I think the performances were fine. The cinematography looked great and the special effects were good. It's just not an interesting story. Just wasn't really interesting. So yeah, that's ranked below Shang-Chi and Black Widow. Like, I definitely rewatched Shang-Chi. I can definitely rewatch Black Widow. Eternals, not too sure. So let's go to Spider-Man No Way Home. This is definitely on the top. This is better than these other movies. What can I say? Great love letter to Spider-Man fans. Great continuation for Tom Holland Spider-Man. Great to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield return. Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina. Jamie Foxx, Andrew Garfield got the redemptions. Great, fun, emotional story. I had a great time with this one. One of the few movies that I've seen in theaters more than once. And one of the few post Endgame MCU movies that I've rewatched more than once. Now let's go to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This I would rank above Black Widow and Eternals, but not higher than No Way Home and Shang-Chi. While I did like the when Sam Raimi's doing his Sam Raimi thing, it's really good. Top-notch stuff. And it does get into some dark shit. But I think when the Illuminati is introduced, film slows down and I think it starts to dwindle. Overall, though, I like the inclusion of American Chavez in this movie. Elizabeth Olsen does a great job. Benedict Cumberbatch is still very good. So yeah, I would rank that there. I'm not doing the shows, by the way. I'm doing the movies. So next we're gonna do Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, it's not. These four are way better than Thor: Love and Thunder. I would rank this below Eternals, if I'm going to be honest. Eternals at least had good cinematography. and it felt like the stakes were taken seriously in an appropriate way. Thor: Love and Thunder, it's like I feel like whenever it wants to take the stakes seriously, it just dwindles. It just falters. And I think Christian Bale as Gore, while he gives a good performance, it's not enough to save this movie. I did like Jane Foster in this movie, though. I thought she was okay. So now we go to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and this one is definitely better than these three. I feel like this and Multiverse of Madness are kind of equal as far as how much I enjoy them. Like, here's the thing: Wakanda Forever, because this movie went through changes due to Chadwick Boseman's passing. I like the serious tone. I like the stakes. Having said that, Chadwick Boseman's presence was very much missed. But I will say the performances were really good in this movie. I will say that. So I put that there. Now, next is Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, the first Marvel movie that I was very disappointed with, and I would rank it definitely below Thor: Love and Thunder and Eternals. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's like there's some special effects in here that are sloppy. I think it's trying hard to be a Star Wars movie than an MCU movie. And it also took out some of the stuff that I liked about the other two Ant-Man movies, like the character Lewis and his storytelling. Like, could you imagine him just telling a story about how Scott Lang had helped save the universe? That would have been funny. That would have been comedy gold. They didn't even have that. So next we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Send off to the Guardians. Number 2. James Gunn does such a great job. By the way, favorite 2, least favorite Multiverse Saga movie. I don't know if that's what I'm correctly typing in, but whatever. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Great send off to the Guardians. Great villain. Some dark themes in here, but some funny moments. Great performances from the characters. I loved it. I really did. Now let's get to the Marvels. Now, this is going to surprise people. I would rank the Marvels above Eternals, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Quantumania. And the reason why is, do I think it's a great movie? No. Having said that, I do slightly like this more than the first Captain America. I think Brie Larson really did a better job in this one. She was more likable as Captain Marvel. I do like the protagonist. The main issue with this movie, despite some stuff being rushed, is the villain is forgettable. The villain was horrible, forgettable, and just ugh. Now let's get to the recent Marvel MCU movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. And this top 3. Not as good as No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy, but still a damn great movie. A lot of fun. I kind of gone through it, but Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. To me, these are like top 10 casting choices of all time in comic history. Great job from these actors. And honestly, the more I think about it, I do think Cassandra Nova is a better villain than I had originally said when I had reviewed the movie. And actually, my grade has bumped up for Deadpool and Wolverine since I reviewed the movie, because the more I think about it, the more I like it. And I would actually go from an A- to an A despite the couple of issues that I had. But the more I think about the movie, the more I revisit stuff, the better that I think it was. But yeah, these are my rankings. And if I was to do like a tier list, it'd be like these 3 are on their own tier. This one's in like a, well, these are like on the phenomenal tier. Shang-Chi's in the great tier. These three are on the pretty good, okay tier. This one's in the not great, but guilty pleasure tier where it is enjoyable at least. It's not great, the Marvels. And then these three are on the not so good tier. Maybe one day I'll do like a whole MCU tier or Marvel movie tier because, with No Way Home and Deadpool Wolverine, it's basically the Marvel multiverse at this point. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. I'm getting tired, and yeah, if you want to see my original review of Deadpool Wolverine, I'll post it in the chat. Let me just find it. And if you also, I'm not going to post links to all of them, but I did review the other Deadpool movies, the first two X-Men movies, and all the Wolverine movies. I think in August, not next weekend, I'll do a Funko Pop collection video. But I think for like the rest of August and parts of September, I will review the other X-Men movies I haven't reviewed yet. So, and oh yeah, before I forget, I want to put a link to the Movie Nerds. Go check out the stuff we do on the Movie Nerds. I did an article on Robert Downey Jr.'s return. My friend does some reviews as well. He also reviews House of Dragons. So if you're a fan of House of Dragons, go check out his stuff on that. But yeah, check out more stuff on the Movie Nerds. We can use more support. My friend runs the site, and both me and him write some great articles. We have another friend that sometimes writes for us that writes great articles. So yeah, go check out the Movie Nerds. And thank you for watching. And please like and subscribe, or if you haven't, please share with me your thoughts on Deadpool Wolverine, the news of Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU. Are you hyped for the MCU? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as I said, I'm going to go back to doing another Funko Pop collection video next week. Take a little break from reviewing. And then the following weekend, get back to doing reviews. And I think my schedule is going to open up a bit more where I can do more stuff on the weekdays than just weekends. Summer's just a very, very busy work season for me. But yeah, until next time, enjoy your evening and take care, everyone.